What is going on, you jagoffs? I have accumulated so much shit from September all the way up until now, today, and I want to talk to you guys about it. So let's just get right into it, shall we? Some of these movies that I have here that I'm going to show you, the Blu-rays that I'm going to show you that I've brought up in previous videos, so I'm not going to go too much into them. First one here, Young Guns, Walmart, $4. Girlfriend got it for me for my birthday. Fun little Western movie. Charlie Sheen's in it. So is his brother Emilio. Check it out. Um, Next up, I've said in previous videos that DC is on a fucking roll with their animated movies. If only their live action cinematic universe could be as good as these animated movies that they've been producing lately. Um, all the ones that I own, I have with slipcovers, and I really didn't want to break that streak, so I held out for this one until I found it at my local FYE with a slipcover, and that's the Flashpoint Paradox. This movie is awesome. I love the tone of these movies. These movies are so tonally great. They're never too serious. They're never too lighthearted and funny. They're never too dark. I mean, they're awesome, and Batman is a badass in this, as he always is. Next up is another movie, one of my favorite movies from 2015, and this was an under-the-radar, like, little hidden gem. Written, directed, starring Joel Edgerton. This is the best thing I've ever seen Jason Bateman do. I'm not saying that he's a bad actor. I really like Jason Bateman, but if you really you take a guy like that who's mostly in funny PG-13 R-rated raunchy comedies. I mean, you take a guy like that, and he really just showcased what he's capable of in this movie. That is The Gift. Got this for $1 at FYE with the buy to get third for $1 deal. And that's a movie. I don't know. I was holding out on buying it. I was looking for it on Black Friday. Of course, I couldn't find it because Black Friday around here, I go out, I get a lot of shit, but it's really not as great as it is in other areas. Anyway, but the next one I got at FYE for $10. And this is just a childhood movie, man, that I found out they were coming out with the Blu-ray a couple weeks after my birthday, and I had to get it. I love it. I love this movie. I remember watching it over and over on the VHS as a kid. And this little boy in this movie, weirdly enough, I don't know if it's his voice, but it is definitely the way that he looks. He reminds me of Tom Holland, the new Spider-Man. In this movie, the Iron Giant is awesome. Even if you are in your 20s and you just want to kick back and watch like a really good, fun, awesome kids movie that's for like the whole family, that's a good one to pop in. It's just one that everybody can enjoy and you can watch it over and over. I know that I was really excited when I heard about the Blu-ray release. Next up, of course, anybody who tunes into this channel knows that I love superheroes, particularly Marvel. I'm holding out for DC, man. I love them too, but those their movies just need to take a turn. I did like Suicide Squad. I had my problems with it. Jared Leto, great actor, but he just looks like a guy in drag as the Joker. He just looks too feminine for that role. But I don't know. I don't want to get too much into my thoughts on Suicide Squad, but I do want to talk about Captain America: Civil War. I get these movies when they come out on Amaray. I don't have a 3D player, so I can't get the slipcover. Plus, it's like they're like $25, and then they come out with the fucking DVD, the Amaray, the Steelbook, and all that shit. And it's just like, I love the movie. I want to watch it in 1080p with my soundbar and my TV. It doesn't matter how I get it as long as I got it. So that's Civil War. Next up, I went to a nerdy flea market this past weekend, and I hit the freaking jackpot there. I got all kinds of cool stuff there that I'm going to show you guys at the end of the video. I did get one Blu-ray there, one I've been holding out for, because I'm not a fan of the cover of this particular Blu-ray that they have in stores, like at FYE at least. And I know it's really, really cheap, but I really wanted this cover, and I found it for $2 at the nerdy flea market. And this is one of my most adored superhero movies. And that is Spider-Man 2, man. Rewatching it, there are a lot of cheesy moments and stuff, but this is a phenomenal, phenomenal movie. I love Spider-Man 2. One of the best fight sequences. Danny Elfman's score throughout the course of, throughout 1 and 2 is just a score that makes the hairs on my back stand up in excitement when you hear the and then Doc Ock's theme in this is great. I could go on and on about Spider-Man 2. This is one of the best superhero movies ever made to this date, hands down. And lastly, I love independent movies. I love city movies. And this was a film that was an independent film written and directed and starring Josh Radnor from How I Met Your Mother. It was made in 2009, and it went so under the radar. Happy Thank You More Please. I love this movie. I first watched this movie in 2010, year after it came out, and I fell in love with it. This movie is such a quotable movie. So many great quotes in this movie about women, about guys, about life. And it's just a story about people who are approaching their 30s, and they're just trying to figure out life. They're trying to figure out love. What are they going to do for the rest of their lives? And this is just a phenomenal city movie, romantic comedy, straight up just comedy, coming of age. It's everything. I can't say enough about this movie. This is so good. Happy Thank You More Please. I can't find it. Couldn't find it anywhere. I've been looking for it for years. Found it on BestBuy.com for $10. Ordered it. Great deal. Love that movie. Now, these next couple of movies here are all horror because it is fall and it is just that special time of the year that we all love. And I got a ton of Scream Factories here. The first one here is The Boy Who Cried Werewolf, which I didn't like this movie as much as I thought. I don't blind buy very often, but this is one that I really thought, I'm like, I'm going to blind buy this. I'm going to really like it. I didn't like it as much as I thought. However, this is a movie that I will revisit from time to time. For some weird reason, I like to watch horror movies in the winter, so I'll probably watch this again before Halloween in the winter, and of course next year for Halloween in the fall and stuff. But it was made in 1973, and that was not even 5 years after they lifted the production code. And the production code was something that filmmakers had to abide by. It was a set of rules, morality rules, if you will, that filmmakers had to follow throughout the 50s and 60s and stuff like that. You know, like there was like a rule, like you notice in like all the movies when actors kiss in like back in the day, it's just like they're just like meshing their faces together, like it's really like drug out and stuff. That's because they couldn't do tongue. That was part of the filmmaker's code. It was too sexualized and shit. And this is like takes place not even 5 years after that had been lifted. You could see little bits and pieces of them like coming out of the the production code era, and they're still kind of in it, and it's just really interesting to watch from like a historical perspective. Also, like, it's a monster movie. It's kind of cheesy. It's still pretty good for 1973. I enjoyed it. I did. The cover's awesome, and there's a really funny group of hippies. It's like a hippie commune. They're like obsessed with Jesus. They're like a religious culty kind of commune, but they're really kind of harmless, kind of full of shit, and it's really funny. And I don't know. I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna go and trade it in or anything, because I did get a Scream Factory that was also a blind buy, just because I love cheesy, crappy 80s movies. And this was a blind buy. Ghoulies 1 and Ghoulies 2, blind bought them. Fucking hated them. So I got rid of them. So the next one up, a lot of people have been buying these slipcovers from Walmart, and they are awesome. They look great, and I've heard people go over them in their videos, and I think I'm going to be the first guy to say it, that these don't fucking glow in the dark. They do not. They do not. And it doesn't bother me. I mean, it's an awesome cover and everything, but this is the only one I picked up. I love monsters. I love monster movies. This is the original monster. He's not half man, becomes a monster at a full moon. He's not a handsome, blood-sucking vampire. This dude is a straight-up monster. He's the OG monster, and I love this fucking movie. And I'm very happy to own it. Also, with such an awesome slipcover. The next one, I'm not going to get into too much detail about, because everybody already has posted about it. Everybody has already went over their thoughts on the movie, the book, the Blu-ray release, the remake, everything like that. But I should have made my video sooner, but I didn't, because I didn't, and I'm sorry. But this is a horror classic. Another great monster movie. It's a bit long. Not a huge fan of the adult section of the movie. I just like the kids. But that's it on Blu-ray. And my Best Buy, or not my Best Buy, my FYE released it like 3 weeks prior to release, its actual release. They had it on sale for $9.99. So I got that 3 weeks ahead of time for $10. And I posted on Facebook. I'm like, hey, like, is this supposed to be out? And people are like, oh my God. And I said, well, go to your local FYE. They'll probably have it. And they did, and everybody got it early. So that's cool. Next up, a couple of Scream Factories. Some of them I went over, some of them I didn't. Return of the Living Dead. This movie bleeds the 80s. This is like the epitome of the 80s. This movie fucking rules. I love the music. I love the comedy. I love the gore. I love the general feel of this movie. You know, from, you know, the punk rockers to the unnecessary nudity to the gore, brains, the cheesiness. Like, this is just the epitome of an 80s horror movie right here. I love it. I loved it when I was a kid, and I still love it today. And I am so happy. Scream Factory's getting a hold of some pretty rockin' titles lately. Like, I'm a little nervous for the future because I feel like that my wallet is going to be taking a beating with these new titles that Scream Factory are yet to release. Like, I feel like Fright Night's coming. That's my favorite horror movie of all time. I feel like Silver Bullet's right around the corner too. I love that one. And me and my finances were really nervous about Scream Factory's future. Next up, The Thing. This is in my top 5 favorite horror movies of all time. And I just made a video about this recently, so I'm not going to get too much into it. This I'm definitely doing a fucking separate video for, because this movie is phenomenal. It's prophetic. It really is prophetic. As crazy as it sounds to say about a Scream Factory release, the class of 1984 is prophetic. And I will get into that in another video. This movie will blow your mind. If you don't own this, if you've never seen it, don't blind buy it, because it's a pretty, it's like an exploitation film almost. Parts of it are pretty hard to watch, but watch it. Look it up online. However you watch it. Before you die, watch The Class of 1984. It's awesome. And if you like Psycho 2, if you like The Beast Within, if you like Fright Night, you know what I mean? Tom Holland, right there. Child's Play, too. Tom Holland's the best. Not Spider-Man. Horror icon Tom Holland. This next movie I got at FYE for $5. I was so excited because this is one of those movies that come around every couple of years, because nowadays horror movies are shit and they're made by Jagos and I can't stand them. But every once in a while a couple will come out that I really like and are really throwbacks to the golden age of horror, you know, the 80s, and the practical effects and the movie monsters and, you know, just originality. And this movie was all of that, and that's Trick or Treat. This is one of the most atmospheric movies that you can watch in the fall. You know, it doesn't have to be October. It could be September. You know, Halloween's right around the corner, baby. Pop this sucker in and watch it in September, October, and on Halloween night and at Christmas. Hell, why not? Trick or Treat is awesome. Also, his movie Krampus that he made, mwah. I can't wait to get that on Black Friday. This next movie is another thing. What I just said about Halloween, same thing with this next movie. This is a little bit lesser known, independent horror comedy, but this movie took the cabin in the woods, you know, story and just went like this with it. I know the Cabin in the Woods movie did that, but this movie really did the same thing, but in a completely different way. More of like the rednecks, the Deliverance sort of Cabin in the Woods type movie. They took that and they made it hilarious. Tucker and Dale versus Evil Man. This is slowly becoming a cult classic. People are already clamoring for a sequel. I love the original. If they make a sequel, great. I'll definitely see it. I hope it doesn't suck. But if they just leave it and they don't make a sequel, I'm happy with that too. Because we're living in an age where it's just remakes, reboots, sequel, and it's getting old. And especially with horror, because you know you can screw up a comic book movie and in 5 years remake it and make it great. And there's so much. You know, there's so much backstory and so many comics that you can take from to make a great movie. And you know, with horror movies, that's not the case. And I don't know, I'm going on a bit of a rant. But Tucker and Dale versus Evil, two great character actors, Alan Tudyk, Tyler Bean, doing what they do best in this movie. If you guys have not seen this, which it's not really a movie that's in stores. I got it at FYE. The Blu-ray is really hard to find unless you go online. I like to go out and hunt for them. Shit. But it's on Netflix. So I mean, I assume most people have seen it because it is on Netflix, and Netflix is, well, Netflix. But lastly, I have two left, and that is Psycho. I love Psycho. I've been wanting it forever, and I really have been holding out for that steelbook, that pink steelbook with the shower drain and the house and shit. I'm like, man, you ain't gonna get a better cover to that movie than that. And then these pop art motherfuckers came out, and this is $10. They had them at Walmart. They got rid of them. Went to Best Buy, found it, $10, got it. Fucking really happy about that, because Psycho's an absolute goddamn classic. And last but certainly not least, I'm ashamed to say that I have not owned this prior to end of September, whatever, I don't know, whenever I got it. But I couldn't find it for a decent price. It was always super pricey, and I finally found it because of the holiday season, Halloween. The Shining. I found it for cheap. Finally got it. And this, just, boy, Jack Nicholson, it's just great to see this man's slow descent into madness, and that is exactly what this movie is, and I love it. And next up, I went to this geeky flea market. It was a couple of miles away from me. It was a bunch of vendors with a bunch of tables selling all kinds of nerdy shit outside of a comic book store that I go to, and man, did I hit the jackpot. This first figure that I got, I will not open. This is something that I've wanted since I was a little boy, man. Like, seriously, like before I had hair on my balls, I've wanted this figure. I really, really wanted the Spider-Man 2099 from this line of figures. That was the big one that I wanted, but this was the second one that I really, really, really wanted, and I could not find it anywhere for less than between $60 and $80. And this vendor I went up to, he had all these rad toys and figures and stuff like that. And, you know, he's like, I'm willing to work with you with prices and stuff like that. He goes, I don't have room for this shit. I cannot take this stuff home to my wife, or she's going to be extremely pissed. I gotta get rid of it. So I managed to get Spider-Man Classics Scarlet Spider for $10. Insane. And, like, Spider-Man Classics line was the first line of toys distributed by Toy Biz, which is no longer in business, that really put a lot of detail into their figures, and they were the first figures that were really, really articulated. And the success of the Spider-Man Classics line led to Marvel Legends, which I have a big green bin from my childhood full of like 100-some Marvel Legend toys. But this is something that as much as I want to open it and play with this little fucker, I'm going to be hanging this on my wall, keeping them in the box, and if I have to, somewhere down the line, I'm going to sell them, but right now, I'm not selling it. This next one, I love these boxes. I love everything about these figures, and this is a monster. It's comes from McFarlane Toys, a Movie Maniac figure line, and man, those are some badass figures from back in the day. And I've always wanted this one too, and I can't find it for less than like $50, which is crazy to pay for a toy, you know. And I know some people do, and that's fine, but I'm just not. I collect movies. Like, I like to get toys from time to time, but I don't like to pay an arm and a leg for them. And I also got this for $10, and this is the movie monster from my second favorite horror movie of all time, and I'm probably going to open this guy up and display him. That is Brundlefly from The Fly, man. I love this movie. I've wanted this figure, and I got this fucker for $10. So yeah, if I open him up, I'll do a separate video on that one. And the last one here is another movie monster, part of the Movie Maniac line, that is from another one of my top 5 favorite horror movies. This one I really honestly might sell, because right now I kind of need the money. I'm like saving for my girlfriend's birthday and Black Friday, and just Christmas shopping in general. So I might end up getting rid of this one if you guys are interested. hit me up on Facebook. I'll put the link in the description down below to my Facebook page. But this one, I didn't even know this existed, and when I saw it, I had to get it. I was like, there's no way. Like, if I don't get this, like, I can have it, I could sell it, and it was $10 too. So I spent $30 on essentially like $150 worth of toys, figures, whatever. And this is the fucking Norris monster from The Thing, baby. This is beautiful. And like McFarlane, with their sculpts and their attention to detail, everything like that, like, you can't beat it. I will not open this. Whether I sell it, I keep it, this won't be opened. Because that's just like, that's a rarity. Like, at least like the Brundlefly you can get somewhere on the internet for a decent price. Like, I've heard that these are really, really hard to find. Really hard to come by. Like I said, like, I didn't even know those existed. I knew of the Movie Maniacs line, and I knew which ones were out there. This was the one that I really wanted, and like I said, I love the Fly, and this will never leave my collection. This is definitely going to get opened and displayed. But, yeah, man, that's my loot. Thank you guys for watching. If you stayed throughout this whole video, I really appreciate it, because it's kind of long. But if you guys enjoy me, enjoy listening to me talk and rant and be an asshole, subscribe to my channel. Check out, more. Because, I mean, I'm an asshole sometimes, but sometimes I can also kind of flip it. I can be kind of a dick, too. So, but yeah, guys, thanks for watching. Like, thumbs up, subscribe, all that shit that they say at the end of the video. You know what it is. I don't have to say it. But, as always, go Steelers.